Let me tell you about two men in a church that I pastored about 20 years ago. The first man was addicted to meth, and he was in the process of destroying his life. His small children were already becoming alienated from him. His wife was becoming desperate. And he was destroying his family financially, relationally, and in every way. This is, of course, what drugs like meth do, and he was on that track. Then his daughter went to a backyard Bible club and gave her life to Christ, went home and told her family what Christ does for sinners. And the brothers and sisters all gave their life to Christ. The mother gave her life to Christ. And then the man gave his life to Christ. And he turned. And he saved his life. He saved his family. He saved his financial future. He saved his job. He saved himself from going to prison. All of these things he averted by a series of actions that we call turning. Second man, he was also addicted to meth. He was also destroying his family. His children were becoming alienated from him and afraid of what he was bringing home. His wife was becoming desperate. Financially, they were sinking. All the same things. The Lord graciously intervened in his life too. He had many friends and loved ones who intervened in his life to say, turn from meth, get this out of your life. It will help you, it will save your life, it will save your family. They appealed to him. He was in church every Sunday. He was praying, saying the same things that everybody else said, had all the Christian opinions, but he did not turn. He did not get meth out of his life. One day, the Lord intervened to save his life physically. He got in a car wreck, and I went up to see him in the hospital where he was all banged up. And the Lord had saved his life, but had not preserved him from a whole lot of pain. He was in a lot of pain. He was a mess. And I said to him, Jim, are you ready to get off meth now? And you say, well, that wasn't very nice. Don't go to me for counseling. That's what is going to happen. It's like, stop it, you know. That's the way counseling goes with me. The hospital visits, are you ready to quit this now? He was not. He kept right on going. He lost his relationship with his kids. He lost his relationship with his wife. He is not enjoying the presence of his grandchildren today. I'm not sure he's alive today. He is financially ruined if he is. And where the man who turned saved his life and is today, 20 years later, enjoying the presence of his family, the security of a life of work and productivity, the security of love, and enjoying his grandchildren, the other man is alienated, lost, and if he isn't physically dead, he is on his way there rapidly, too early. Two men, one turned, one didn't. They were both confident in the course they took. The confidence of the first man who turned was in the Lord who intervened in his life, and he said, I don't know what I'm doing, but I see what God is doing in my family. I'm going to follow God. I'm confident in God, and He will teach me. And there were many people who walked with this man through that long period, that agonizing period of turning. The second man was also confident. I don't know if you've ever had this experience of talking with someone at his hospital bed when he put himself there. And he is absolutely sure that he can keep doing what he's doing and nothing worse is going to happen to him. He's got it, everything's fine. You ever talk to this person? Are you this person? That confidence is a killer. So we've got this problem. How can you be confident in your decisions? How can you be confident in your relationship with the Lord? And I'd put the question this way. What if right now you're on the wrong track? How would you get on the right track? Let me ask a prior question. How would you know that you're on the wrong track? How would you figure that out? Because one man in the identical situation of addiction to meth figured it out. I'm on the wrong track. I need a new track. Another man, same situation, point for point, did not figure it out. How would you know if you were on the wrong track? And so I'm doing something here that most preachers don't do. I'm trying to get you to doubt. Most preachers are trying to get you to believe. I'm saying to you this morning, before you can know what to believe, you have to doubt the track you're on. You have to question it. And so, if you picture a train pulling out of a station, there are all these tracks fanning out before that train. What if you're on the wrong one? You can take one track and it's just like 30 degrees this way is another track. And in the station, as you're leaving, it doesn't look like that much. It doesn't appear to be that big a difference. It's just a little bit this way or a little bit that way. What could happen? Well, it may be the difference between Atlanta and Kansas City. Because a little difference here at the beginning, if you keep going that way on that track, you will go the wrong place. I think sometimes we imagine that we are in a car in life, and if we miss a turn, if we're on the wrong road, you just take the next intersection and turn again and turn around. It'll be fine. Just get off at the next exit and turn around. Everything's fine because you're in a car and you can steer it and do whatever you want. In fact, our lives are much more like being on a train. If you board the wrong train, it is going to take significant intervention for you to get back on track. You'll have to coordinate this at least with someone in the switching operation so that they can switch the train and you can go somewhere else. Or you're going to have to say, I'm getting off this train at the next station. Or you may have to say, I'm jumping off this train. I've got to get off this track. Our lives are much more like trains than they are like cars. And you say, well, Pastor, the biblical image for this is path. You're on a path, and each individual is on a path. You can just turn around and walk the other way. Well, the Old Testament path was a well-worn route driven into the landscape by many, many, many feet. Lots of people had taken that path. If you get on a certain path, you are going to a certain place. That's the concept in the Old Testament of walking a path or following a course. Your course leads where it leads. And the only question is whether you're going to realize that you're on the wrong path, on the wrong track, and do what intervention it takes to turn. That's the only question. So, we're going to look this morning at chapter 3, verse 7. We looked last week in our wisdom journey at the first 6 verses. We've gotten an invitation to embark on this journey from Proverbs chapter 8. We looked at the station where all the departures go from, and that's the fear of the Lord, Proverbs 1:7. Last week we looked at the fact that there are guides we need on this journey. There are people who need to show us where to go and where not to go. And there's a time to turn. There's a time to intervene in the course that you are on and take a different track. And that's verse 7. We've just had verses 5 and 6 about our ultimate guide, the Lord. Trust the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. Here's our verse. Be not wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and turn away from evil. Let's break down this command. I'm actually fragmenting this a little bit. Last week I pointed out that each one of these thoughts here in chapter 3 have a structure to them. They come in parallel lines, as all Hebrew poetry does. And the parallel structure is a contrasting structure first. My son, do not forget my teaching, but let your heart keep my commandments. And then you get an outworking of that in some synonymous parallel lines, or perhaps an extension idea. For length of days and years of life and peace they will add to you. Verse 3, let not steadfast love and faithfulness forsake you. Bind them around your neck. So the contrasting idea, the outworking of that, is that you will find favor, good success in the sight of God and man. Trust in the Lord. Here's the contrasting idea. Do not lean on your own understanding. So then we get the outworking of that. He will make your path straight. So here, what we've got in verse 7 is the contrast. We won't get to the outworking of this till next week. Because this one command is so important that if we don't get this one, all the rest of it falls apart. In fact, I'll go even further than that. Your wisdom journey is probably going to stop right here at verse 7. Your trek toward the knowledge of God is probably going to abort right here. This is where most of these journeys end. And I gave it to you this morning like there's 50-50. One man went this way, another man went this way. It's actually not that ratio at all. It's more like one man gets it, 99 don't. That's more like it. One man gets it, 999 walk right by it and continue on the wrong track. I've had whole churches full of people who would agree every Sunday with biblical teaching and not come to grips with verse 7 here. That there needed to be turning. And you know what? Those churches, the more they agreed, the worse they got. The worse the bickering got, the worse the animosity got, the worse the relationships got. Everything declined. The more their mouths said, yes, Lord. Lord, Lord, we love your word. We love all your truth. We love all these things. The more they said that, the worse they got. One church, early in my ministry, actually fell apart after 8 months of agreeing and not turning. And I praise God for that, because the world did not need another one of those churches. So I would say that here in verse 7, this is succeed or fail, life or death, stand or fall. Be not wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and turn away from evil. The contrast is in two parts. There's a prohibition in this command, a clear statement, stop doing this. Be not wise in your own eyes. So this is a command. Do not permit yourself to entertain false confidence. When that false confidence comes into your mind and heart, you recognize it for what it is, and you say, I am not going to entertain this. My heart, my friends, my whole society is telling me I'm wise. I know what to do. Everything I think and everything I want is right, and I just need to follow that. And so I'm going to recognize that for what it is, and I'm going to say to my own heart, to all my friends and my whole society, no, I am not the all-knowing, good, wise person that you say I am. That's not me. False confidence. Here's another way to put this that's even more blunt. False confidence is sin. It's a kind of presumption where we think we've got it right, and we're just operating on that assumption. We're not questioning it. We're not going to do anything about it. If questions do come up, we're just going to keep right on going because I got this. And the Bible portrays this as a transgression of God's commands. God's commands start with this doubt. Do I really have the wisdom that I need, or do I need more? Do I need to grow? I have found this principle has not just saved ministries that I've been in. This principle, this command has not just saved me from making mistakes, it has saved my life. It has saved me from boarding a train to hell. Because as I have internalized by the grace of God this prejudice that what I know is not enough. What I feel is not right enough. That what motivates me is not right enough. I am not wise. The more I internalize this, you know what starts to happen? I start looking around. Well, if I don't have it, then where is it? Where can I find it? Who will tell me about it? Where can I learn about it? I would encourage you to overthrow American society in your own heart. Do this grand act of rebellion right now. It's thrilling. You can say to our entire culture, you're wrong about me. I don't have all the answers. I don't have wisdom. I don't have goodness. I need those things. And they're not going to come from within me. They're going to come from outside of me. That one act of obeying this command, this prohibition, be not wise in your own eyes, that one thing will transform your life. But you say, you're making me feel like I'm no good. You're making me feel like I'm worthless. You're making me feel like I can't do anything right. You're making me feel all of these ways. That's not my desire. I don't want you to feel worthless. God does not want you to feel worthless. He doesn't. Your value is so high to God that He's waving His arms, sounding alarms. He's dancing. He's singing in the marketplace, as wisdom is portrayed as doing. He's chasing you down to say, don't think this way. Come with me. You need wisdom? Ask for it. I'll pour it out liberally and without reproach. That's God. He doesn't want you to feel worthless. He wants you to hear the song inviting you to wisdom. And in order to hear that song, you have to realize, I don't have what that song is singing about right now. I need it. It needs to come to me. That's all. There is a contrasting admonition. The prohibition is, do not be wise in your own eyes. The admonition is a positive step you need to take. So stop doing that, start doing this. Fear the Lord. Oh, that's the terminal. That's where you go to depart on this wisdom journey. That's where the train takes off. Fear the Lord. So what does this step do? It says, reality is real. God is real. The world He created is real. The way He made this world to work, the way He made it to work financially, the way He meant work to work, the way He meant relationships to work, sexuality, personal fruitfulness, spirituality, all of that is real. And it's on a track. And I want to get on that track and get off the track I'm on. This one admission that God's way is real, is life-giving. The fear of the Lord says, if you cross this, if you ignore life, you're only headed to death. And that one thing sets you up to interact with reality. Now, even in saying all of this, we're taking American culture and we're just going like this. Because American culture is basically saying to you, you make your own reality. You define yourself. You set your own identity. You set who you are, what priorities you want. You define everything in here. It's all coming from you. And the Bible is just staring you down saying, you know that's not true. You've got to know. You have to have an awareness at some level that there is a brick wall that you are speeding toward called reality. And if you don't turn, you're going to smash right into it. And so even this statement, fear the Lord, is as countercultural as we could possibly be this morning. So don't be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord. Reality is real. And here's the key thing. Turn away from evil. The assumption here is evil is a real thing, and it's on your track. It's in your life, and it's in mine. It's part of who we are. So we need to turn from it in the fear of the Lord. If we do that, results happen. And we'll look at those results next week. But I want you to just spend the week living with this contrasting prohibition and admonition. The positive command here still has a note of warning to it. The note of warning being, fear the Lord. He is worthy of fearing. Reality is worth wrestling with and coming to grips with, because it can kill you. And then finally, there's this step that most people don't take. The way these riddles in Proverbs come to us, they come to us with two parallel lines, sometimes three. And what you're supposed to do with this is combine them, put them together. You don't chop them up and leave them in pieces. It's a puzzle, so you're putting the puzzle together, and then you ask, what's the big picture here with these two lines? If I am not to be wise in my own eyes, but I am to reach outside my own head, and I am to get a grip on reality and fear God and turn from evil, then what's the total picture here? It's this: God will give you the wisdom you lack. That's the big picture. Teddy read this for us. We've already had this invitation. Verse 23 of chapter 1, if you turn at my reproof, behold, I will pour out my spirit to you. You realize what that's saying? Wisdom saying, if you turn, then I don't just pat you on the head and say, good job, gold star, 10 points. No, I actually pour out my mind, my heart, my spirit, I just dump it into you. I put a big funnel on your head, and all the goodness that I have, just start pouring it in. And it starts gushing out the top of your head because you can't hold it all. That's God. God will give you the wisdom you lack. That's why in the prior verses in chapter 3, trust the Lord with all your heart. Don't lean on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. There it is. You know what this is called? The gospel. This is God saying, if you turn to me and you say, I don't have wisdom, I have made foolish, sinful, presumptuous decisions, I am on the wrong track, I need either a switch thrown so that this train will turn, or I'm going to jump off this train and I need you to save me. We love these stories about the two men, the one man who got off meth, saved his family, and he's now pestering his grandchildren like any grandfather should. We love that, and it sounds so simple. Oh, he turned to Jesus, he prayed the prayer, Jesus filled his heart, and it all worked out. You know that's not what happened. This was an agonizing process. Getting off meth is no picnic. Power of God or no power of God. Every day there is the possibility of failure. Every day there's the possibility of return to that path. And so what this was an agonizing journey of turning away from evil. And as he did that, the Lord poured out his Spirit into this man. That's the gospel. And what I want you to understand today is that most Christians in America today have said words to Jesus, but they have never gotten off the train they're on. They're wanting Jesus to bless the track they're on. And the first part of the gospel that I want you to hear this morning is, He will not bless your track. It's His track or nothing at all. But His track, the journey He has you on, has everything. Everything. So, the command in two parts is, be not wise in your own eyes. Do this instead. Fear the Lord and turn away from evil. Take those steps to put evil at a distance from you. And the total picture is, God will make your path straight. He will give you the wisdom you need. I want to talk with you about arrogance. Something I know a good deal about. When I came out of the womb, arrogance came out with me. It's who I am. I am a recovering, arrogant, supply whatever word comes to mind after that. I know it all. Got it wired. I know what I need, I know what I want, and I'm going to get it. So, when I talk to you about arrogance, this is something that I have turned from and continue to turn from. Arrogance sounds like this: I know. I have all the information. I've already heard this. I've already processed everything that you're trying to tell me here. I've got it. What I have found is that arrogance is a drug. It's a kind of emotional meth. It gives you a delusion of competence and power. And if you listen to that drug, that arrogance, I know, will tell you to do things when in fact you do not know. And what God has been gracious to show me is that there are things I don't know. And if I make the decision in advance, this thing's coming down the pike and I think I know what this is, and I'm just going to stop right now and say, I don't know. I will just tell you that awash in information as I am about the state of our society, the state of our politics, the state of the church, none of that information makes sense to me, and I don't know what's going on. And when I listen to people who think they know what's going on, I'm even more sure I don't know what's going on. There are things happening in our society and in the world at large right now that are so big and so deep that we will not come to grips with them in the next 5 years. We will not understand them in the next 10 years. If I live another 25 years, it's possible that I will look back on this and then I will know. But all of this fills me with a need to say, maybe if I can't know all of this right now, maybe what I need is to pursue God, ask for wisdom, and take the next step of turning that is right in front of me. So if I don't have the map, I can at least take the next step. That's evil, so I'm going to step over here. If that's all I've got, that's enough. Arrogance says, I feel passionate. I feel devoted. I feel convinced. I feel all of these motivations that are right and good. I'm just certain because of how I feel. And, it's the line in every movie, follow your heart. And the music swells, and it's this big moment, this big climax in every movie, because all our culture has to say is this one thing. If you feel it, it must be good. The stupidest thing any culture has ever said about anything ever. This is lunacy. It's insane. And it's making us insane. And so arrogance says, because I feel it, it must be right. So this work that the Scriptures are calling us to is this work of undoing that arrogance, of living in my head. I've got to get out of my head. I've got to grow. Grow emotionally. Grow intellectually. Grow relationally. And say, there are other things that other people feel. And I'm going to hear those, and I'm going to take that on board, and I'm going to grow with my companions on this wisdom journey. It's something like that. Arrogance says, I can. I've got the abilities. I am competent. I know what to do, and I am able to do it. Friends, let me just say this to you as politely as I know how. You are all highly competent. That's why you're here. That's why you're at Cornell. That's why you're at Ithaca College. It's why you're pursuing these important studies, degrees, and why you're pursuing the goals that you're pursuing, because you have all of these abilities. And those abilities are your worst enemy. I have abilities too. I've been blessed with many abilities. They have never helped me as a pastor. They've always been in my way. Your abilities, your capabilities, the things that you can pull off because you're that good, they can destroy you. It's not to say you shouldn't cultivate them. I continue to try to cultivate the abilities that I've got, and you should too. But I want to cultivate them with this verse securely installed in my heart, that with my abilities, I should not be the one to decide how my abilities should be deployed. God will make my paths straight. He will deploy me where He sees fit, and that is best for the people around me, and it is best for me. And I just want you to know that I am saying that out of much long struggle with this. This is difficult. It is hard. But I would direct your attention to verses 11 and 12. My son, do not despise the Lord's discipline or be weary of His reproof, for the Lord reproves him whom He loves, as a father the son in whom He delights. It's good for us to grapple with God on these questions and to say, I'm probably on the wrong track and I can't get myself on the right one. My wisdom won't do it. The Lord needs to make my track straight.